Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Restoring the Past. Brought to you for the first time ever in glorious 4K ultra high definition. YouTube won't support 5K at the moment, but regardless, this is a huge step up for the channel, which will always be in 4K or higher from now on. This is the first episode in a multi-video Tulwar sword restoration series, documenting the entire restoration process of this 17th century Indian sword. I'm sure you're all excited to take a look at what we're dealing with. So let's roll the intro and dive right into things. So here it is. I won't talk too much about the history of the weapon. I'll discuss that in more depth in another episode. For now, I want to mainly focus upon the current condition of the sword and scabbard, and what it looks like before we begin restoring this beautiful piece of history. So as we can see, the condition's not that bad, but it's not really that great either. There's a lot of active rust on the blade, as you can see by those bright red, brightish orange areas on the blade. There's a lot of black pitting with some very, very old rust that's turned black. Especially near the tip right there that you guys can see. There's a lot of areas of concern there that we're going to have to address. The blade too, unfortunately, it looks like somebody tried to crudely sharpen it at some point using like a grinder. And that's just terrible. I hate seeing that. You can see all those highlighted areas there, the white areas along the edge, where a grinder has just eaten right into the edge there. And that's too bad. I'm trying to show it here. It's really ugly. You can see every little teeth mark of the grinder in there, of the stone that was used, whatever it was. It's just nasty. Really, really nasty. So that's going to be a really big area that we're going to have to focus on and do our best to eliminate some of that carnage there. Even looks like entire chips were taken away of it at some point. Hard to say if that was done by the grinder, if that's old battle damage or just old damage from wear and tear over the years. We've got to keep in mind this is a 350, 400 year old plus blade that's been around for a while, so it's bound to have some issues. There you can see some scratching near the hilt. So that's going to require some attention as well to carefully remove that. But all in all, I am happy with what I see. One of the big things that really drew me to the blade was that it is a marked blade. And I really, really like that. It's got 3 beautiful deep fullers into the blade, but it's the markings right there that I really, really like. So those are known by 2 different things, either an eyelash mark or a sickle mark. And usually they appear on blades that were imported from northern Italy, right around Venice or Genea. We're huge exporters of raw blades that were brought into various countries throughout the world and then mounted locally by local smiths and armories. So let's take a look at the hilt more carefully, and we can see there's a lot of rust everywhere, especially right around the crossguard there where the blade meets. A lot of significant pitting and rust in that area, so that's going to require a lot of attention for sure for us to clear that out. And plus it's a hard to reach area, so it's going to take a little more time, but we can definitely do it. There is more rust along the spine of the blade as well, and some pitting, but nothing we can't handle. As you can see, I'm able to grasp the sword very easily, which I'm really happy about that. It really feels comfortable in the hand. It's well balanced, weighs about 2 pounds, and apparently a lot of Indian Tulwars tend to have a smaller handle, so they can be hard to grab a hold of today. So I'm very, very happy that this one really fits my hand comfortably and I don't have any issues. As you can see, the disc pummel here, very characteristic of the Tulwar. There is movement in that disc and a lot of rusting around the disc as well. So those are all areas that are going to require a little bit more care. Here you can see the disc, how it moves in my hands. I'm able to twirl it around. Not the greatest thing, but again, not the end of the world either. It's just something we'll just have to try to beat back into shape a little bit there. Very, very carefully. You can see those two little grooves there. But really, it's not that bad considering the rust here is definitely more ingrained. You can see how the whole thing has developed this blackish patina. So that's a good indication of very, very old ingrained rust. So here's the Tulwar in overview from the other side now, the other end of the blade. Again, the same type of issues that we saw on the other side are here. Still lots of rust, particularly around where the blade meets the hilt at the cross guard there. Lots of ingrained rust in that area. Again, with the sharpening on the grinder, the edge of this side of the blade, it might have fared a little better than the other side, but I mean, it's still very nasty. It's gruesome. Got a lot of teeth marks in the blade and pieces carved out of it. So it's going to require a lot of care to get this back the way it should, to level it all and to have it seamless once again. But the fullers are really, really nice. I like how the blade steps in there a little bit, how it's wider at the base of the blade and then gradually tapers up and then comes out again at the top. It just lends towards a really, really nice slashing weapon. It really, the whole shape and weight of it and style of it just says it wants to slash, and it would slash deeply. Again, the tip of the blade really suffered more than the rest of the sword. The tip is particularly heavily pitted with a lot of black rust spots there. So probably there's something going on with the scabbard. I would say when I looked at the scabbard, it looks like the end might be coming off. I don't know, there's tape around it and things like that. So when I see a rusty blade like that at the tip, that's usually indicative that it's probably something went wrong with the scabbard and it's exposed. It's been exposed to the elements longer than the rest of the blade. But really not that bad. Again, it's got a beautiful patina to it. I really wish it hadn't been chewed up so bad on a grinder. It's really unfortunate. This blade could have been really really well preserved and spectacular, I think, but unfortunately we might have to be a little more aggressive in our approach here just to get that blade back in a uniform, consistent look. And again, to take away all the deep gouges and scratch marks that are in it. But it fits really, really good in the hand. Really comfortable sword. Another view of just showing that rust, just how deeply ingrained that is in there, and just really gives you an idea, I think, of how hard that's going to be to get out, but it can be done. Just another quick view at the disc pommel and the area where it's come loose. See how it turns around there. So that's going to have to be addressed right in there. I think we can get that locked in where it wants to be again. And really, these are all things that we should be expecting, guys and girls. I mean, it's an old sword. Obviously, it's been through a lot. You got to take the good with the bad. And there's a lot of good here, an awful lot of good to work with. It's got a great look, great age to it. See how it's separated in there too. When the disc pommel is rotating there, it's creating that little gap in there, but we should be able to tighten that up, I think. We can definitely take care of all the rust that's settled in there. Give it a much cleaner appearance. It's got a really nice knuckle guard. It's not a full basket hilt as these Tulwars often aren't. They are usually just like that with a plain knuckle guard or no knuckle guard at all along the hilt. So that's everything that we want to see with a sword like this. Now that this pommel is really out of shape, but like I said, I think we can get that back. Another close-up view of the blade again, just trying to show what that grinder did to this poor old thing. It's unfortunate. If the gouges weren't so bad, it almost looks like a Hummun that you would find on a Japanese sword, but unfortunately it's nothing beautiful like that. So here the blade does have a wicked bend in it. You can see there's bent in two spots there, mainly towards the tip. It kind of bends twice, and so the sword is not straight right now. I think it's something we can get back into shape, but it's gonna definitely take some love and care to do so. But other than that, the curve on the sword is very, very nice, very elegant, not too curved. It doesn't have a radical curve like some of the shamshirs that you'll see. So it's very indicative of a nice Tulwar curve, exactly what we want to see. But again, it does have that bend in it. It's not a straight blade right now at this moment, but hopefully it will again soon. So here's an overview with the sword in its scabbard. So the scabbard, it's definitely got some issues with it. It's been covered up with this cloth, which of course is not period to the blade or period to the scabbard. So that will have to come off. Here you can see it's just been, the base of the scabbard has just been covered with this electrical tape or hockey tape. I'm not really sure what it is. Looks like electrical tape. And so I am a little bit worried about there. I'm guessing the brass cap is probably missing. So that's my guess, and that's why the sword has been exposed in the scabbard, and that's why the tip has pitted the way it has and oxidized more than the rest of the blade. But all is not lost with this scabbard. I'm hoping once we get rid of that cloth, I mean, it's probably hiding a lot of sin. I'm sure it's on there for a reason. But I think once we get rid of that cloth, I'm hoping that original cloth that you see right there at the top is all over the scabbard, hopefully. I have no idea what kind of condition it's in, but hopefully it's all there. And the scabbard still is its original wood, which is wonderful to have. These Tulwar swords were always kept in a wooden scabbard, and that's why they were kept so sharp. The Indians, they understood, like the Japanese, that a wooden scabbard is the way to go. It's less maintenance on the sword. Every time you put it away, it's protected, and it doesn't dull the blade whenever you put it away or draw it. And that was always one of the reasons why the Tulwar sword was so feared. It was so sharp, and the scabbard played a huge part in maintaining that reputation and that sharpness. So there's little bits and baubles too on the scabbard. Again, I think they were just applied there just to keep the rag on there, so I don't think it's going to be a huge deal removing those things. Not sure when they were applied there. They look like they were fairly recent. Possibly added at the same time when somebody took a grinder to it, just to try to improve the sword is my guess. But all in all, that's what we're dealing with. So you can see what condition the sword is in now. It's in good condition, I think. There's nothing that really alarms me about anything other than some of the deep grooves by the grinder. But again, I think we can handle all that. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the sword in its original condition as it was when I received it. I think it's going to be a really fun project to bring back to life, and I think it's going to be very worthwhile to do so. There's nothing better than saving a piece of history with your own hands. The channel continues to grow every day, so I'm very, very grateful for that support. Everybody who subscribes, thank you so much. It means an awful lot to me. So stay tuned, there's lots more to come. And as always, good luck with your projects. See you next time. Please subscribe.